Then we will move on to another piece of paper. Okay, and then that takes us to the superintendent report. Superintendent Dixon.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. So I'm going to quickly run through about 5 slides, and this will be riveting material, but it's just sort of a modge podge, just some catch-up. So first of all, I want to talk about our staff, and I so appreciated Board Member Hanson recognizing staff and their work at the legislature, but we also we hire rock stars around here, and they are often honored both state and nationally with awards. So I wanted to highlight some of those from this past month. Sarah Young is receiving an award at the end of the month, I think actually on the 22nd, if I'm not mistaken. She'll be receiving the Make It Happen Award at the Utah Coalition for Education Technology Conference. You heard Board Member Reeby talk a little bit about digital teaching and learning earlier, and Sarah is our coordinator over that program, among other things. Leah Voorhees was recently awarded the Administrator of the Year by the Council for Exceptional Children Utah chapter. Leah currently serves as our Assistant Superintendent, and she does double duty as also leads the special education section, and we are often touted nationally for our plan to improve conditions for students with disability and educational outcomes. And we submit that yearly plan, and I know the department, when they've made visits, they really highlight the work that we do. And Leah's always been a force in that work, so we really appreciate her. Talia Longhurst was recently given the Administrator of the Year Award from the Utah Association of Education Office Professionals. This is a group of mostly women, but some men, who work in our education systems, both as school secretaries in the school, office professionals throughout various offices in the state, and we have members of that association here in our own office. And I will say that Talia is a superstar director, and she has been one who really supports her staff with professional learning opportunities and always helps them grow and really rallies behind them to be the best they can be. And she creates an atmosphere amongst her staff of constant professional growth and was recognized for that. And then last but not least, my own amazing assistant, Leslie Snelson, who keeps the ball rolling for me and for all of us, I think. And she was also recognized by that same organization and given an award called Committed to Excellence in Education. This is the first year of that award, and it will continue on with this organization. So I wanted to highlight those 4 great employees. And in that vein of professional learning, we're very committed as a staff, as your staff, to be in a constant loop of feedback. And we believe that feedback and professional growth are really important for us to do the work on behalf of students. So as your staff, we are engaging in some intense professional learning, and we've been working on design thinking. You've heard us talk a little bit about that. Leadership Council will be engaging in a one-day seminar on leadership. We continue to work with the University of Virginia Darden School of Business and WestEd in getting some great leadership training. And then at the end of April, we'll have an expanded staff experience, and we'll continue to engage in leadership work around design thinking. And I was meeting with a representative from a district recently who gave us some great compliments, and we were talking about hiring the right people and getting the right people on the bus, and he said, I'm paraphrasing what he said, but I love this thought. He said, it's one thing to get the right people on the bus, but it's really important that you look at that great big front window in the bus and use your side mirrors instead of driving from the rear view. And I thought that was a great statement for us to think about. And that's really what we're trying to do with design thinking and moving forward, and always checking our side mirrors, but really using the front view instead of always being confined and bound by the past. So, certainly things we can learn by looking in the rear view, but we shouldn't be driving that way. Next, I want to highlight a recent conference that we were able to attend and have some joint meetings with board members. And I'll have Vice Chair Ellis talk a little bit about the experience, but just a couple of things. So some staff, Patty, Norman, Tiffany, Stanley, Emily Wheeler, and I attended CCSSO policy meeting, and they have breakouts for communications and federal liaisons. A lot of the focus was on school safety, but we had a joint meeting with NASB, the School Boards Association, where we were able to hear Doris Kearns Goodwin. And if you have had a chance to read her books or hear her speak, she's really amazing. And she talked to us a lot about leadership, the lessons from Lincoln and the Roosevelts, and what current leadership and all of us might learn from some of their leadership qualities. It was a great meeting. And then staff attended a meeting with senior staff from the U.S. Department of Ed, and we received feedback on our ESE. We were talking about the feedback that we had received on our ESSA plan when we submitted it, and just trying to get clarification on some of the things that they were talking to us about, and trying to talk about implementation. And then we also, on Tuesday, Patty and I were back here on Capitol Hill, but Tiffany, Emily, and board members were able to then attend meetings with congressional delegation as well as Representative Alexander's senior staff. So turn some time over to Board Member Ellis to talk about that.
Thank you. I'm going to be, I might not be here during when we give our report, so thank you for letting me.
But her picture will live on. This is from a NASB tweet, and they just happened to choose a photo with our own Vice Chair Ellis in it.
That's funny. Okay, so yes, as Superintendent Dixon mentioned, we met with representatives from each of our congressional delegation, and we personally met with Representative Love, Curtis, and Bishop. Staff from Senator Lee's office and Senator Hatch's office were particularly knowledgeable about ESSA and the provision that's in question, the provision that we're asking for a waiver from. We mainly discussed our challenges with ESSA, the implementation related to the provision that would require us to count non-tested students as zeros for purposes of calculating the achievement indicator in our accountability system. They all understood our challenge and expressed willingness to support us in finding a solution. There were discussions of sending a letter to the U.S. Department of Ed, expressing support for our waiver. Anyways, we kind of just use it as a brainstorming session. There's a lot of politics in D.C. surrounding ESSA, education, and in particular this particular section of the provision that we didn't anticipate. And so we're just working through that, and we're thankful for all of our congressional delegation and their willingness with us to engage in that and finding a solution.
Thanks, Board Member Ellis, Vice Chair Ellis. I wanted to just give a brief report on Student Walkout Day. If you were following social media, you probably, or even just the news, people, I guess, actually watch the news on TV still. So there were reports about student walkouts, and we did put out just some guidance to schools just for some ideas. And we heard back from a number of schools and also followed some of their social media feed. There were thousands of students that participated. Not all schools participated. There were everything from sit-ins, meetings in auditoriums, cafeterias. Some schools just, I know Cedar, I think it was Cedar Middle School, kept their students in class, and they spent 17 minutes on learning how to write to legislators and other policymakers to influence policy decisions. So it was really all about student voice and how to try and make a difference in policies, and that was kind of the impetus behind a lot of the guidance. So a variety of experiences, and it's from everything we could read and find, it sounded like all of the LEAs felt like whatever they chose to do, that it was a success, and that students were guarded, they were safe and appropriate. I think there was one incidence of a junior high student breaking his arm as he jumped over a wall trying to get back into class. So that was the only unwieldy thing that seemed to happen. Just a reminder that there will be a walk to the Capitol on a Saturday, March 24th. That's being organized by students from West High School. So any high school student that wants to join, I believe they welcome adults as well. They'll meet at West High. And then another possible meeting in April. So just wanted to give you some brief news on that. And then we'll also end with some good news about School Land Trust. Is Natalie? Oh, Natalie's here. So Natalie, I've kind of got the numbers there, but anything you want to say about that, about our increase?
It's amazing.
Might you come to the mic, please?
I presented today to the SITLA board.
Natalie, if you'll state your name and Thank you.
Hi, I'm Natalie Gordon. I'm a school children's trust specialist here. I presented today to the SITLA board and wanted to also let you know that we have our distribution number for next year, and let me get the exact number off my phone. It's 15% higher than our distribution last year. Next year's distribution will be $74,577,097.94.
Oops, I rounded up. Oops,
So
sorry.
94 cents. And when we did the estimate for the schools, they're starting to do their planning right now. When we did the estimate, we did it at 70 million. So actually they're receiving 6% more than they were expecting. So it's going to be a great year.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Dixon. Okay.